In the last section, we found we were given percents, and so we were able to use those percents to find discounts on prices. We were actually to find retail prices after we put a markup and find what a commission was. So we were given the percent. In this section, we actually have to find the percent. So we call this the percent of change. So how much did the number change? So let's look at a couple of things. So it shows how much a quantity has increased or decreased from the original amount. So if I had, in that last example, we had a shirt for $14.50, and then I gave it a markup of 140%. So I knew how much the percent of change was. But for this one, we're going to be given the original price and given the new price. So this is going to look a little scary, but I think you'll actually like the shorthand that I have for it. So your percent of change, how much something changed, is going to be your new amount minus your original amount. And you're going to divide that by your original amount. Now you're like, that seems like a lot. How am I going to remember that? But I think you'll like this. So let me explain this. Again, you tend to freak out. We need to make sure we're not freaking out. We're calming down. But so if you see a problem like this, your first reaction might be no. So I kind of took that and ran with it. So no is our way to remember. You take your new, which is new, minus your old, over your old. So you're going to take your new price, subtract your old price, and you're going to put it over your old price. And for me, a lot of times it's just easy just to see an example. So here's your first example. The price of the phone went from $50 to $70. Find the percent increase. So we know that the price went up. Our original price would be $50. So I'm going to go ahead and just put an O there for the original price. To $70. So this is going to be our new price. So I'm going to use this shortcut to help me remember. So my percent increase, or you can say the percent of change, is going to be my new, which is 70, minus your old, over your old. Okay, that's exactly the same as this wording here. I just gave you this one because this one was in the textbook. So we took our new amount, which was 70, we subtracted our old amount, and we put that over our old amount. So 70 minus 50 is 20 over 50. Now, when things both end in 0, I know I can divide by a 10. So I'm going to divide by a 10, and that cancels out to 1, and I'm going to be left with 2/5. Now, this is a fraction. I want it to look like a percent. So how do I change a fraction to a percent? I have a couple of different ways I can do that. Remember in our triangle for the transformers, I could either do top dog in the house, where I take 2 and divide it by 5, or since this is a nice denominator, to get to 100, I could go ahead and just change that, or see what I'd multiply to get to 100. So 5 times 20 gives me 100, and 2 times 20 gives me 40. So now that I have 40 over 100, yep, that is 40%. So I had a 40% increase in the price. And we know that it's positive because it actually went up in price. Okay, so I'm going to use the no again for this example. This summer I went to the beach 5 times. Last summer, I went 20 times. What is their percent of change? So one of the hardest things for students to do is realize what was the new amount, what is the older one. So you kind of just really have to pay attention to the wording of the problem. So it says, this summer, I went to the beach 5 times. So that would be my new amount. Okay. Last summer, this would be your old amount. Okay. What is the percent of change? So let's put a percent. So I'm going to use my new. So I take my new, which is 5, minus your old, which was 20, over my old, which is 20. So 5 minus 20, remember you're in 7th grade now, so you get those negatives, so it's going to be negative 15 over 20. Now I'm going to go ahead and reduce this fraction just to save it when we do the calculation. So 5, I know, can be, 15 can be divided by 5, and so can 20. So I'm going to divide out both the top and the bottom by 5. That's going to give me negative 3/4. This is a fraction. You have to change it to a percent. So I'm going to actually show you both ways, both routes, doing it in counterclockwise and clockwise if you were to go back to your transformer page. So here we go. I know it's going to be a decrease, okay? And so I'm just going to put that negative off to the side. Let's put it as a negative. So negative 3/4. I'm going to do top dog in the house. I'm not going to worry about that negative because I have it right there. So 3 divided by 4. Again, I'll just write that here if you want to see that. So he jumps off, he runs in the house, and then 4 is knocking at the door. And make sure you're doing this along with me. 4 goes into, remember I'm pretending it's 30. Let's say 7 times gives me 28. Gives me a 2, add another 0 because I want to get to a terminating or a repeating decimal. Oh, 4 goes into 25 times. Now, so that's negative 0.75. So this is my decimal, and my percent is going to be negative 75%. Why am I happy about this? Is because you know how to do this. Don't forget your transformer. You're going from a decimal to a percent. So if it was the decimal to a percent on the alphabet, you're going to be moving to the right. So you go 1, 2. You're going to keep your negative sign. It's going to give you 75%. You're like, sweet, got that. So let's say you didn't want to do top dog in the house and you notice that 4, there's a nice number that you can multiply to get to 100. So I'm just going to show you this. So 3/4. If you find one way, do it that way. You don't have to show me twice unless I asked you to. So that goes to 100. 4 times 25. 3 times 25. So when a number is written over 100, that's a special number. I can call that a percent. So that's going to be 75%. But remember, it would be that negative because it was a decrease in the times that I went to the beach over the summer. So again, remember your no when you come to these kind of problems. I think you'll do just great.